Okay, so this is the 2002 Road King. So the front suspension is gone through, progressives in the front. New brakes and rotors were put on when I bought them. When I bought the bike, put some disc covers on it. That's all been gone through. New seals, new bushings, everything, new oil. Very, very supple, nice progressive suspension. Just the coil springs, no cartridges. So they're the same on either side. All right. Took the dents out of the fender. And that was my plan this year, to get her sorted out. And as well, the rear swing arm, I've worked on that. Put progressives in the back, the 412s. And yeah, it's all been gone through. I think it needs something in the back here because we got a little bit of play here, just a hair, but it's not horrible. But it's definitely on the transmission mount section. So anyways, the plan this winter was to go through the rest of the bike, and I found a couple things that were no surprise really. Transmission shifts perfect. I don't have any issues there other than change the fluid. Shifts perfectly. The primary bearing under the cover here, the inner race is walked in towards the output shaft, so that has to be, unfortunately I got to take the inner primary off to fix that, which means I might as well change all the seals while I'm there, right? And of course, as I suspected, the main nut, so this one here, was not Loctited and was loose, way loose, as well as the output shaft nut for the clutch, also loose. No surprise there. Chain's in good shape, no issues with the rotor. Sometimes these little splines here get buggered, but they're in good shape. Clutch basket is in good shape, so no issues there. And of course, next we're on to the motor. So my plan was to, since nobody knew the history of this bike, okay, it is from Quebec, so I don't know what had been done to it. The people I bought it off of, the guy I bought off of, sorry, he didn't know. So assuming, since a lot of the original gaskets, or at least Harley-Davidson stock gaskets, were in there, as I took the top covers off, I figured it was probably a stock 88. And my plan was always to make it into a 95er, you know, the typical SE203 kit. And I had, before I ran it in the summertime, had done this. So we got a upgraded cam plate, SE203 cams in it. Hard to see them. But no issues there. I ran it for the entire summer, and I had an issue with the rear bearing not sitting in the cam plate tight, so I prick punched it and Loctited it with sleeve retainer, high temp sleeve retainer. And of course the concern was, did it hold? And since I pulled it apart and checked it out, nothing budged. Everything held beautifully. Cams are wearing nicely, no issues. No issues with lifters. They look good. The bores are fine. Lifter rollers are fine. So the reason that I wanted to check it out, obviously, just make sure that everything was done correctly, which pretty much was, with the exception of this puppy. So when I pulled the throttle body out, when I took the cover off for the filter and the intake, guess what? No screws connecting the throttle body to the manifold and no O-ring. So it was only just held together by good luck and happiness. And I'm sure it was sucking air here and there because I couldn't get the idle to settle down right. I mean, I tuned the idle and it would drift. So to me, as the thing heated up and cooled down, she would open up, obviously, no seal there. And there you go. Air leak. Anywho, so carry on with it. So that was the one reason to make sure. So I found that. Everything else looks really good. The heads are in great shape. However, this Road King has a pesky shudder. Just a little tiny shudder. Now, could that be intake leak related? Possibly. Not really likely, but possibly. You know, as it goes lean and rich and lean and rich, I don't know. Maybe that caused an issue. But the big issue would be, the crankshaft going out of true and getting out of balance. Now, this is a stock crankshaft. It is balanced at the factory. It's not sumping. And I've got decent play in the front. And I have a little bit more play side to side in the back. I've got no binding whatsoever. And what I want to do here is I've checked the run out on the pinion shaft. We're going to show you right now as I go around. Hard to see it. Is that 0? 2 thou. 2 1/4, baby. Yep. Not much. It's pretty decent. My odometer says 75,000 miles or 126,000 kilometers, somewhere in there. But honestly, this was an American bike, as you can see from 1 HD1. It's not 5 HD1, it's 1 HD1. So it's a US bike, but it had an original American miles per hour speedometer. But in the illustrious Canadian government changing to kilometers, it had a kilometer speedometer installed, which showed 121,000 when I picked it up. Honestly, I don't see it. I mean, the thing just, it runs, the condition of the sheet metal, everything, the paint, powder coating, it just doesn't say that much miles or kilometers for the year of it. And honestly, it runs pretty good, except for that little bit shudder at certain RPM, So what's going on there? I'm not sure. The engine, the crank feels good. It doesn't have a lot of run out on it, at least on the pinion shaft. Now, true, the driveline had loose bolts, so maybe that's causing it as it heats up. I don't know. It definitely does not run as smoothly as this S&S motor I built here. This 106 engine there's no shudder at all. It runs fantastic. Really well balanced, everything. Of course, you got an S&S crank, Timken conversion, S&S pistons, barrels, and it's all really well balanced, as S&S always does. This Harley crank, maybe not so much. Hard to say. But it's only got 2 1/4 thou run out, which is really squat diddly. And bearings feel good. Rods aren't locked. You know, looks okay. To me, it looks okay. So, now that we know everything is good, I mean, including the pistons. Oh, I didn't mention. Bonus for me. This was going to be going to an 88 to a 95 incher with flat tops. Stock stage 3 upgrade from the factory. And guess what? Somebody did it for me. Those pistons have already been bored out, or those are SE pistons. Those are 3.875 inches. So bonus was already done. Piston wear is minimal. I'll show you one of the pistons. Right here. Okay. This is the rear. You can see the skirts. Nothing. Hardly nothing. Skirts, fantastic. That is a 3.875 piston. So, lucky me, I'm going to massage the heads a little bit. Not going to do a full workout on it. Just going to lap the valves, check the oil seals, make sure the guides are good, decent seal, get rid of some of the freaking obstructions, some lips if they're here and there in the heads, and put it all back together. New gaskets, new seals, blah blah blah, and torque everything down correctly. And the wrist pin clearance is perfect on both the front and the rear. It's a really decent engine for 21 years old. Really good engine, I gotta say. Yeah, and we already did the Torrington bearings last time. You can see them in there. So once again, 2 thou, just over 2 thou. Excellent run out. Hardly anything on it. Hardly anything. So maybe the vibration is in the driveline. Maybe something was coming loose there. You know, I don't know. It's hard to say. Everything looked good there too, except for the tightness of the bolts. They were loose. Definitely loose. We don't know. It's either that, the crank rounded was not significant. Perhaps this engine wasn't balanced perfectly like that S&S one at the percentage, whatever. Maybe it wasn't balanced. I'm not sure. Anyhow, so starts the cleanup and the reassembly. All new gaskets, all new seals, clean her up, decarbonize the pistons, clean up the ridges, get rid of all the dirt, and put her back together. I'm very, very happy with that. Overall, hopefully we're gonna, as we put it back together, we can hopefully get lucky and get rid of that vibration. Oh, and by the way, new motor mounts front and rear still didn't help. I mean, it improved it. It was worse before. It's definitely rideable. It you know, it's not that S&S motor, but it's rideable. Certainly beautiful. Love this Road King. Beautiful bike. But it's definitely not as good as that, for sure. Stock crank, I'm not really that impressed. But it's running pretty decent. So, anyways, it is October 22nd. And this should be back together by springtime. I mean, no rush. I could do all the fluids anyways, right? And the gas tank took all the dents out of the gas tank, blah, blah, blah. So if I go to sell this thing, you know, if I sell her, which I don't know, you never know. She's going to be tuned to perfection. Checking out. See you later.